Music shapes the lives of many different people in many different ways. To me, your own musical taste is as unique as your own fingerprint. Mine's a mix of my mom's old country music, my dad's alternative music, and my sister's cool, edgy music. Music can be traced back to the etchings on a cave wall. And most devout music teachers will tell you that the very sound of footsteps make our music, a repetition of sounds. Because that's all music really is, a repetition of sounds. So how has something that simple become so prominent and essential in our lives? Hi, I'm Isabelle Sykes, and I'm here to talk to you about, well, music. More specifically, music's journey, where it's been, where it's going, and how it affects us. When we listen to music, two parts of our brain are activated: the amygdala and the cerebral cortex. The amygdala is the part of our brain that helps us to process emotions, and the cerebral cortex is the part of our brain that helps us with our abstract decision making. By these two parts of our brain be activated at once, it means that the most ancient part of our brain, the amygdala, and the most advanced part of our brain, the cerebral cortex, are working together simultaneously. Cool, right? Dr. Southmore is a professor at McGill University, and she's been studying how music affects the brain. What she's found is that when she had people listen to what was predicted to be their favorite songs using an algorithm similar to the ones iTunes uses, is that when we listen to a new song, we actually analyze that song and compare it to a template in our minds of our favorite song. Now, it's a little bit confusing, but I compared it to this skit. It's a little bit silly, but bear with me. Taylor Swift came out with a new album this year, Reputation. It was highly publicized and highly anticipated, but upon hearing it, many of her fans were actually a little disappointed. What I found were the people who wanted the old Taylor back from the dead were the people whose favorite songs were You Belong With Me and Our Songs, the cute romantic songs. Whereas I liked the new album, but my favorite songs were Better Than Revenge, ones with more of a beat to them. These songs matched the pace of Taylor Swift's new album and therefore matched the template I already had in my head. In addition to these two parts of the brain being activated, a chemical is released in our brain as well, called dopamine. This chemical is released when we drink a glass of water after being thirsty, one of the first signs of dehydration. So in short, it ensures our survival. So then why is it released when we listen to music? How does music ensure our survival? To answer this question, a writer for the Oxford student, David Fisher, looked at one of the earliest forms of music, treble music. Treble music is a very social thing and is usually community-based. And though treble music is still present today, it can somewhat be related in American culture to club music. Again, a very social thing and very community-based. In clubs, we bond with people. Humans are a dependent species. We are essentially pack animals that need others to survive. So when we bond with people, which music helps us to do, we are ensuring our survival. Now I'm going to segue into talking about the music through the generations, a very vast concept. So I was talking about the pop music for each generation. And what I found out very recently, which I thought very interesting, is that in American culture there are no specific parameters to the pop music category. This is unlike other cultures where there are, for example, K-pop. When that song Body Like a Back Row came out, it was originally a country song, but when it gained interest, it became a pop song as well, because in short, pop music is popular music. Baby boomers, rock and roll. Generation X, grunge and hair bands. Millennials, hip hop. To understand the musical taste of each generation, we must understand each generation. Baby boomers were born in a relatively good economy, post-war economic boom. They are a generation of workaholics and independent people. In contrast, their children, the Generation X generation, were born during a relatively bad economy, are self-sufficient philosophy, are a family of two-parent income and higher divorce rates. And millennials, as everyone knows, is prone to job hopping, but are more family and team-oriented. The music of each generation reflects the times each generation has gone through. The Elvis Presley rock era was meant to be a celebration of music, the celebration of the end of the war and the celebration of a good economy. Then you have grunge and hair bands. Now, Generation X was the hardest generation to find out what their music was. What I believe this reason was is because another nickname for this generation is the middle child generation. So you have grunge, which is a result of childhood feels like rebelling, but you also have hair bands, which can easily be traced back to rock and roll. And then you have millennials with hip hop and rap. Suddenly it's possible for there to be no melody, no harmony, just words, fast-paced words, to reflect the millennials' fast-paced lives. Then you have Generation Z, my generation. Born from 1995 to 2012, we were a relatively young generation. Our music is on the radio now and will be on the radio, thus no one knows exactly what our music is. But if I had to guess, it would have something to do with the fact that our generation has grown up with technology, and we need things instantly. To put that into perspective, I was born in 2002. The internet was invented 12 years before me. The iPhone came out when I was 5, and by the time I got into music, the iPod Shuffle was out, and it was very easy for me to hit skip and fast forward. The way I test out an album is I listen to the first 30 seconds to a minute 30 seconds in the chorus. If I don't like the song, I won't finish it, because I want to get through the album quickly. And there have been times in the car where we're listening to one of my parents' old songs, and the musical intro is too long. I'll get a little fidgety, and I will complain about it, and my parents will be horrified, saying, just wait till after the instrumental intro. Just be patient. Patient. No one in my generation is patient. Nobody has long instrumental intros anymore because they know they won't be considered a good song. Music nowadays is more about beat. It's less organic. It's rap music or sounds strung together in some pleasing way by a DJ. There are still ballads, but even those have more of an emphasis on the beat. It's about entertainment, having songs that are fun to sing and dance to. At least that's what the author said in the articles I read in my research. They compared songs like Wild Thoughts, where, let's be honest, it's just Rihanna saying the same things over and over again, and DJ Khaled randomly interjecting, to the musical genius of Bob Dylan and the Beatles, people who really said something with their music. But I'd argue that that's not true. I believe our generation of music does say something. For instance, you have Logic's most famous song, which is about suicide prevention, Kendrick Lamar raps about racism, and Kesha sings about sexual assault, just to name a few. These are huge topics put into songs. Not only do these songs make the top 100, but they really say something and reach most people that way. Not many kids will watch long speeches on these issues, but they will listen to the radio. And with such important movements happening right now, like Me Too and Black Lives Matter, it makes you wonder, is this the start to a new era in music? That seemed to be the message on the Grammy stage this year. It was clear from the very beginning that the Grammys were supposed to be about more than just entertainment. It was illustrated by Kendrick Lamar's powerful opener, continued by several other artists and country artists who sang a tribute to the lives lost in the Las Vegas shooting. But I'd like to highlight 4. Miley Cyrus, Kesha, Pink, and Lady Gaga. All came out with new albums this year, in stark contrast to their usual racy selves. And that was the same on the Grammy stage this year as well. Pink was not swinging from the ceiling, she had her feet firmly on the ground. Miley Cyrus was fully clothed, singing next to Elton John. Lady Gaga, who still had a very impressive outfit on, was backed by a piano and not a techno beat, and Kesha needs no words for how moving her performance was. All of these artists are trying to reinvent themselves, whether it be for personal reasons or some for career reasons, because they recognize that the racy costumes and the techno beats aren't exactly fitting with the times anymore. So yes, music of my generation is based in technology and it's fast-paced, but that doesn't mean it still doesn't say something. Music for each generation has changed drastically, and it will continue to change, but it will always be there, because music helps us to feel something. When we're sad, music can be a comforter. When we lose someone, whether it be because of a breakup or something as tragic as the death of a loved one, there is a song for it, and when you find that one song, it's like having a friend who knows all the right things to say. On the other hand, music can be a huge pick-me-up. There have been studies with patients who are depressed with Alzheimer's and dementia. Upon hearing their favorite song, suddenly light up, and they're joyful, and they're happy, and they're singing, and it's a complete turnaround. Whatever's next in humanity's journey, whatever new territory we are to conquer, music will be there. It will be there as a comforter. It will be there to help us be social, or to help us say something and make a change. So what's next in music's journey? What new territories are we to conquer? Only time will tell. Thank you.